Good morning and welcome back to Family Farms. Today we're going to give you an update on our clover lawn. Now I'm not entirely sure if we've given the full backstory on our lawn and what it looked like when we first moved in and that following spring and stuff. But I know we've shared bits and pieces here and there. If I can find any pictures, I will pop them up on the screen here. But this yard is completely different from when we first moved here. So when we first moved in, there were lots of dirt patches, just areas of neglect from where leaves had fallen and had just absolutely ruined the grass beneath. There's oak trees in our yard, which means that there is a lot of acorns in our yard, which means that our soil needs to be constantly amended in order for grass to grow. A lot of factors played in to where the grass was not great. So I believe it was in the fall, Justin did some research and found that clover, well, also part of the research was just walking out in the yard. That's getting out and figuring out, like, looking at things and seeing what's working and what's not is a great way to do research. So he went out in the yard. He saw that we have a lot of dirt, we have some grass, we have moss growing just from the trees and the soil acidity and all the stuff that's involved with that. But he also noticed that there was clover growing up through the moss. Now, grass won't grow where moss grows. So he was like, okay, well, grass hasn't worked for us, but this clover's working out here in the yard. Let's try and sow some clover seed. So we grabbed a bag. I think we ordered it on Amazon even, or we could have picked it up at the Tractor Supply. I'm not sure, but you can get it a lot of places. He actually got a bag that was mixed white and red clover. So you have some short and some tall, and I can pop pictures up of what the yard has looked like as it's grown in this spring. But he had sowed some back in the fall. We noticed some improvement. We were pretty excited. So this spring, he accidentally went all out and sowed things. And now we have this beautiful, lush yard. Like, oh my goodness. We did mow this recently. I'd say we're getting close to almost a week ago now that we mowed this. And we don't have any of the super tall wispy grasses anymore, but we let this grow up pretty tall so that way the red clover could have a chance to bloom. The white clover did a lot of blooming. I mean, there's still white clover blooms all over. But this yard before was full of patches like this, and even in this now you can see new clover growth where it's just spreading. But clover lawns are drought resistant, so they don't require a lot of water. We did water them twice daily when we were trying to get the seed to germinate and get it established. But basically once it popped out of the ground, we stopped watering it, and it has flourished. I mean, look at this. This is not the yard that we bought when we bought this house. This is amazing. And I can pop up a few pictures of Oliver playing in the clover when it was taller. I had a blast just running through the tall clover and everything, but we didn't want to attract any critters into the yard, so we did go ahead and get that mowed down. But this yard, I am just blown away. Absolutely blown away. In fact, to give you an idea of what this looked like, not quite to the same extreme, but give you a good idea, let's go to the backyard and check that out. So this is a bit better representation of what the front yard used to be. Again, it wasn't quite to this extreme, but like, let's say this area, for example. This is kind of what the front yard looked like. Big, large dirt patches, not, you know, super rocky, but there was little bits of grass, there was lots of dirt, and there was also moss growing in here. It just wasn't great. But what we did is we tossed out a little clover seed, and like you can see here, it sprouted. Now, this particular area that you're seeing, we did not water. Justin tossed out a little bit of seed before rain and let it go. He had put some out over here, but this is a little bit more trafficked by the dog when we're in the yard, and it's also a lot more exposed. This area is under shade, like complete shade, 90% of the day, if not 99% of the day. It's grown clover. You can have a lawn in your shaded yard. You can. It is possible. You just might need some clover. Just a little added tidbit real quick. I'm so looking forward to the rest of this looking a little bit more like this. This does need to be cut down some, but Justin heavily seeded around this area, around these little steps down into the yard. So there's a bit of overcrowding and things, or reaching and whatnot, but if we get it cut down, just imagine like this is the yard. Eek! How exciting would that be? Also, what about some raised beds down here, like one this way, over there, and here, and then a little fountain in the middle with an arbor and a bench in the back. How great would that be? To continue on with our clover lawn, like we did add some in here to my pollinator garden, but that brings me to one of my next facts. All of those little white flowers I showed you earlier, basically a clover lawn acts as a pollinator garden. It's going to attract bees and other pollinators to your vegetable garden, which, as you can see, ours is pretty happy. I mean, they're doing their job. I don't know if you can tell in all of them, but they're little bitty tomatoes sprouting all over. So, we've got pollinators. Things are doing great. Another really neat thing about clover is that it's self-fertilizing, which means it's adding nitrogen back into the soil, which is something that grass doesn't do. Another thing that we're loving about the clover is that it is very tolerant to be walked on. So like, I'm just gonna trample through here, and this is all really young. So it's kind of pressed down. This afternoon, it will not be like that. It'll just perk right back up. A lot of grasses are not like that. You can't just, you wear paths into grass really easily like that. So this will perk back up. Another thing that's pretty evident right here is it spreads very easily. So as it sends up flowers and drops the seeds, it will spread to fill in any gaps, which is exactly what this is doing. Justin seeded this area last year, and for the most part, like, it did really well. There was this one little area here that we missed. It got rained out, something. But this spring, we didn't sow this. It's filling in all on its own. And I hope you can tell just how many little seedlings are in there, because it's loving life. Anyways, I think that's going to be all for today's video. Now, I know some people may watch this and be like, but clover's not native. Okay, well, we didn't really find anything that was native that we could plant in this yard to have a lush lawn. Now, we love our garden. We love it so much. If it wasn't for all of these trees, if it wasn't for this, we would have more garden space. Justin would not let me have a lawn. Like, there would be no lawn. It would be garden up front. It would just all be garden. But we have a lot of shade. There's not a ton of things you can grow food-wise in the shade. Most of the stuff that produces flowers and food needs full sun. So we do have a lawn, and that's okay. Like, you can have good practices and still have stuff that you enjoy. You can do things that are not only great for the environment and just supernatural and native and all that, but you can also do things that you like. It's your decision, and we've made this decision for ourselves. So anyways, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more content. Come along as we continue to improve the soil, improve the look of everything in the process. Pretty soon there's going to be another garden tour, and things are just absolutely going crazy right now. Like, you saw just the tiniest little sneak peek a moment ago when I was showing you the tomatoes and all of that in reference to the pollinators. But guys, oh my gosh, I can't believe it's already looking like this. I cannot wait for the rest of the growing season. So be sure that you're following along. Anyways, I hope you have a great day today, and God bless.